How's the recording too, Ellie?
Dave, we can't see you yet, you and Allie.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Okay, we're now recording. We're now live on YouTube. And Craig is here, so we do have 6. I'm not sure if you want to wait a little bit for more.
Brian was gonna log on. We have 35 seconds before we can start. So Kara, how's your vacation?
It was good.
Yeah? I noticed you didn't use any sunscreen.
I did. I used 50 the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
Where'd you go?
That's what 50 was?
Yeah. I went to Curacao.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. I wasn't a huge fan of the food, but I made do.
Plenty of sun.
Yeah.
What was the matter with the food?
I don't know. It was a lot of like fried things. Don't get me wrong, I like fried food, but it was like a lot of like minced meats that were like fried.
What, they had no pasta?
They had pasta. I did get it, but I got home, I had a big bowl the way I like it. So
Okay.
Start the video. Can't see.
There's Mike Wild. They're rolling right in here. Nick's getting his assistant, setting things up for him.
Hello,
Hello, Nick.
how are you?
Good. Good. Who's the iPhone? Recognize. I can't read from
Brian.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Good Lord. The later they come, the worse they look.
My computer doesn't want to let me in, so I just got on the phone. I said, what the hell? I know it's going to be a quick meeting with Dave, so, you know, it's only going to be a minute. My phone will never die.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. Ally, would you please perform the roll call?
Craig Leggett,
I'm here.
okay, Brian Campbell,
Yes, I made it.
Mike Wild,
I'm here.
Jenny Sullivan,
here.
Chuck Barton,
Here.
Sam Bruno,
Here.
Mary King,
Here.
Nick Caimano,
Here.
Dave O'Brien.
Here. Okay. So we have a quorum. First order of business is approval of minutes of February 22nd, 2022 IDA board meeting. The motion to approve those, motion by Dan, second by Nick Caimano. Excuse me, any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Next order of business is to, excuse me, review the current accounts payable. I just want to note that there's 3 in Fitzgerald, Morris, Baker, Firth that will be reimbursed. Fort William Henry, KDBF Ventures, and Adirondack Winery for services rendered for them.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Leggett.
and I take it for Jared Engineering, that continues to be the delineation? Or there are other,
Delineation. The delineation is something that I hope goes away soon, but not yet.
okay.
So right where we are is we will be submitting the, well, I'll get that later. Any other questions on the payables?
Oh,
Okay, I need a motion to approve the payables.
So moved.
Second.
Chuck Barton, Craig Leggett, second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Chuck Barton,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Mary?
Mary, do you approve the payables?
Okay,
Who's on the lockout there?
Okay. Nick, how about you?
Yes, the answer is.
Okay, Dave O'Brien.
yes. Done. Next order of business is Mike's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Over the course of the last month, had several meetings with potential projects in various locations in Warren and Washington counties, Granville, Lake George, and Queensbury, to be specific. Happy to talk offline, more specifics, if anybody is interested. As I had mentioned, I attended the EDC conference last month. The governor gave a good report about the budget expectations in regards to economic development. Empire State Development also had its entire leadership team in attendance, so it was nice to meet a lot of them, put names with faces. They gave a cannabis presentation as well. They currently have 4,000 applicants for license that they are very slowly vetting through. I know Ali sent out this information. The EDC is having their virtual conference in regards to IDAs on April 12th. I highly recommend that you participate and listen in. Been reaching out to various elected officials and developers in the area. I've met with several already, and I have several meetings set up over the course of the next couple of weeks. Just as an introduction of the Warren Washington County IDA, myself, and discuss our programs. Craig, just wanted to thank you for hooking me up with the developer up by you. Meeting with them next week. I'll circle back with you, let you know how it goes. Going to be a thank you to Chuck as well, because I'm going to be attending and participating in the Glens Falls Rotary meeting. Chuck hooked me up with the lady in charge there, so I'll be going there in June. It was the earliest open slot that they had. I'm also going to be addressing the Lake George Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors in April, again, just to talk about our programs and introduce myself to Gina and her board. April 29th, we're eyeballing as a possible IDA informational forum down in the southern portion of Washington County. I met with Sue Clary and Jimmy Griffith to start organizing that. They're going to help us put it together. Tomorrow I'll be spending the day, pretty much most of the day in Granville, checking out, as the previously mentioned projects. I have a meeting with one of the companies up there as well. Let's see, Wednesday evening, I'll be attending the ARCC mixer. It's actually right down here at the Civic Center. And then later, or actually April 1st, I'll be going to the J. Walter Juckett Award Dinner that's at the Sagamore every year on behalf of the IDA as well. In regards to the canal side, the only update I wanted to point out is that Ali had sent out bids for the brush cutting, lawn / weed maintenance for the park. I'm in the process of arranging visits for the companies that are interested, just so they can get a look at it, so they can give us an appropriate quote. And lastly, I just wanted to make you aware that I've started posting some IDA stuff on my LinkedIn page. I talked about Brookfield last week with a picture of the building that's going up. It's gotten over 1,400 hits in the last week. I just put a new one up today highlighting our airport industrial park. So going to randomly be putting up posts, just highlighting things that we're doing, both current and hopefully as some of these clients continue to build with pictures and just highlighting some of the work that we're doing in the area. And that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Did everybody go home from the cannabis meeting okay?
It was very highly attended. It was one of the breakout sessions, and in comparison to the other two sessions going on, it was by far the most highly attended. The executive director of the new cannabis management office gave a presentation. It was very informative. There were a lot of questions from elected officials, from members of the community. They are very much still sorting things out. They hope to have it all sorted out by the end of the year. They're still in the process of even hiring staff to go through the 4,000 applications. So it's probably as clear as mud at the moment. They hope by the end of the year, it's a much smoother process.
Thank you.
Very high participation, Nick.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Brian.
Emphasis on high, right, Craig?
I heard that. I just didn't want to laugh too loud.
You know what they do in Hebron?
No.
Cultivate.
Cultivate. There you go. And of course, they have to test the grades.
That's
But farmers can now use their property to grow marijuana. Did you see that, Brian?
No,
You better
It's been
jump
growing-
right into it.
it's been growing wild in Hebron for so many years. Nobody plants it anymore. They just harvest.
Right.
is that why you are the way you are?
Oh, hell, if I had that, I'd be mellow.
Okay, thank you. Ongoing business delineation update. We're in the phase where we're doing the national permitting process. I've got a call Thursday maybe with Steve George to talk about it and see where we're going with that and see how long it'll take. TD update, we've officially closed on that. It's on the shelf. They are waiting for the final approval from PSC. They hope that will be on the agenda in April. And once that goes, then everything else starts clicking in place. I know it's a high priority to PSC and New York State, the governor and New York City to get this approved. Anyone who would love to read through all the letters and stuff and a few thousand quotes and information and letters and memos, I would be glad to send you the link. It was very encouraging to see in the last comments that came in how very positive most of the comments were. People say, well, there's these things coming up. Well, realistically, every single issue brought up by Sierra Club and the Riverkeeper and a few others, those have been vetted for decades, or for a decade at least. So when I talked to TDI, they said they really haven't seen anything new come up. It was just variations of everything else here and everything else came up with. So, but again, those have been vetted for a long period of time. Any questions on that? Canal Side Energy Park Sewer Water Update. We got great news today. The great news is that we received $950,000 from a lease through the omnibus package for water sewer implementation down there. Actually, the message I got this morning was for infrastructure, so it might be a little bit broader than we had originally anticipated. I have to check that out. But that was good news. I had heard about a month ago that earmarks were dead. Well, I guess they're not dead. They came back again. So that's a great shot in the arm. NBRC, we have the $600,000. So right now we have 1.2 $5 million to use for infrastructure, engineering, and other developments down there for the park. We just, the last meeting, we talked about approving I call them Chase up and then Labella. We had a initial meeting with them, and I got the first part of the contract at $5,000. I've signed that and sent it in. That part is to do data gathering and present to DEC. So the balance of the project for engineering and stuff we can do together. Dan Bruno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is that money available for engineering and construction or?
Engineering implementation, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So that should take us quite a bit of ways down the road, and I think that we have matching funds we can get from other places. So we should have potentially most of the implementation costs and design and engineering costs covered, we hope.
Good.
So the first phase, I said $5,000. They want to approach DEC to see if any roadblocks DEC puts in place, so we can design and build according to what they're looking at. So that's the first step. Any questions on that? Court case. No information. I skipped one, Silbert Holdings, Biscotti. I didn't realize that I already got authorization to sign that contract, so the contract's been signed. HTC Hilltop is looking at lots 4 and 5. We're waiting for clarification on a piece of potential wetlands down there. That's the other part of what we're talking to, what I'm talking to NCES and Jared Engineering on. Walter Juckerroot Ward, I'm going to that also, but they've been our attorneys for decades. I think that if anyone else would like to go, I think that it'd be encouraging to have members of the IDA go there and join that and attend that meeting. It says Sagamore, not a requirement, but I'm just throwing it out there. I think we've been with FMBF for so long that it would be good for us to show a good face to them. So anyone wants to go, contact me, we'll go from there. Dan Bruno.
What's the date of that? Do you know?
April 1st.
Thank you.
I told Mr. Biddle, I'm going to walk up the door. He's going to have this big sign that says, O'Brien, April Fools. We really aren't having this today. So
Dave, your discussion on with the sewer district about the canal side park, did they mention the other park, the original IDA park, or no?
We're getting that discussion. Okay.
We're gonna have the discussion here and now, or you're gonna have that discussion with them?
In a few minutes.
Okay.
The discussion is going to go on. Let's finish up here.
Yep.
So we'll go from there. I'll get back to it. I got a call on Thursday or Friday from Joe, actually with Jason Deno, the new sewer representative out there. About 2 years ago, we applied, about a year and a half, we applied to get a lot of our properties taken out of the sewer district. We're paying roughly $12,000 to $14,000 to $15,000 a year on sewer for properties that will never be able to be developed. We had sent a list, and after our delineation, we added 2. So that process is ongoing. They hope to get that closed up pretty soon, but he did have a request. Our request for inclusion of the 2 additional properties created additional expense of $4,500 to them. They are requesting that we help share that expense of the extra unexpected $4,500. So I need to bring it to the board to see if they're willing to share some of that cost with them. He asked me for an answer last week. I said, I can't give you an answer. It's got to come to the board. So I'll throw that out for discussion. To answer the rest of the question, I am having a meeting with them. I forget when. I think it's April 5th. I got so many dates in my head. April 5th, they'd like to hear from the IDA, what the IDA is planning to do at the Canal Side Energy Park, what our thoughts and processes are. So I will be meeting with them and discussing with them so they know what we're looking at doing within that. So that's the update on the sewer.
Well, there's a couple caveats there, Dave, that I want to touch on. First of all, the way they explained it to me, if we go back to Queensbury, since they take the sewage, I guess, from the IDA park, they can bill that to the actual parcels so that we don't have the extra on our account from here forward. But the one time it's already on, the way I understood it. Is that the way you got that story or no?
Yes, there's two things. There's a lot of things in play with this.
Okay.
Originally, that sewer line was run down Queensbury Avenue. It services both sides of the road. And the issue is it's old clay pipe, as I understand it, and there's a lot of infiltration of the pipe. So the users are paying a extra to make up for what's coming into the plant. So once this lining is done, it should cut down on each user's bill for that extra for the pipe. So they will be going back to paying what they should be paying based on their water usage. I think it was Joe told me a long time ago, there's some people paying $10,000, $15,000 for water charges and sewer charges. And hopefully that brings their bills down a little bit.
And basically, you said the cost could be taken off all those properties that are now wetlands and just dispersed amongst the ones that are saleable or already sold. So
Correct.
there is some work we had to do with Queensbury. And then on the Canal Side Park, he was talking about us. They thought that we should give them money up front to basically have a dedicated amount of capacity. I'm not sure that we want to go there, should go there, don't really know. I understand where they're at, but I think as far as the engineering, if they know what the number is, they could go forward with the engineering without that. And we build accordingly, they would build accordingly to what was engineered, but without us knowing what's going in there, we don't know how much we need. So it's a very intricate situation. And I know you're going to have that discussion with them, but it just seems like if we're all working together, we shouldn't just be paying money to them. They should be working with us too. And we pay as we go along instead of paying money up front. Just one person's opinion. I think we need to work together better than that.
I don't know. We've had some preliminary discussions, but didn't go very far.
I can understand why.
The first step is that part of the process, we need to identify a couple things. The first thing is what's the potential flow needed there? I've talked to Tom Jarrett, and we are going to work through a group and actually Chuck Barton's actually volunteered to help to figure out what the potential volume would be. Because until we do that, until we get DEC approval, there's not much that we can do without that potential volume. So they did mention two things to me. And again, I didn't have that discussion because I didn't have good information to work on about, number one, about potentially buying an option on the usage. But there was another conversation where potentially just understanding what our needs were.
Yeah,
the second conversation is that we need to have is that part of the study we're going to have to do is what is the stormwater getting into the system, and potentially if we can, potentially evaluating that, if we can save through our process and engineering and stop that infiltration going in, is we potentially get another 100 or 200,000 gallons a day for surplus. So I think there's a lot of moving parts. I'm not sure that anyone knows exactly what they want to do at this point. But I think that the real tell is going to be working with DSC, working to understand what the potential need is. And third is what do we need to look at in terms of what can we save through an investment into some of the reduction of stormwater infiltration. So there's a lot of moving parts. I think we're a while before we have that serious discussion, when we know what the project is, what the cost is going to be, and what it's going to mean to them. So.
So there's two sides there, Dave. One is making it too small and limiting what ability we have there. And the other one's making it so big that it's a huge expense for no reason. So yeah, we kind of got to narrow it down. I don't know how we're going to get that, but that's important.
Yep. Understood. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts in this.
Okay.
But at this point, you need something from the board about, is this about the clay lining of $4,500? Is that what you started with?
Correct.
No, that's just from the delineation, the change.
That's from the additional lots we're requesting to get exempted from the sewer district,
Oh,
which was created by the delineation.
I don't think we're paying for the lining. I think they're doing that. I believe, but I'm not positive of that. Do you, Dave?
We're not paying for the lining. That's going to be grant money.
That's what I thought.
What they're asking to pay for is additional costs generated by our addition of additional lots to be taken out of the sewer district. You know, they've done the report, they're ready to go. Now we asked for 2 more insertions into the elimination from the sewer district. So that's what they're asking for help on, the additional money for the report, $4,500.
okay. So that's to update the report, and we will no longer have the liability for those lots as far as the sewer tax. Is that
You got
correct? Thank
got
you.
it.
And as far as I know, somebody has to convey to Queensbury that whatever the charge are, it gets, sent out to everybody else. It has to be, redone.
That's where the agreement with Queensbury needs to be amended for this entire project.
And I don't know if we're doing that with them or if sewer district is, but we want to make sure that's done so we aren't doing this again.
Sewer district's doing it.
Okay. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Brian, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Craig. So clarification, is that for the full amount or sharing part of the cost, or you want me to negotiate an amount?
Negotiate, just don't pay them more.
Right. No, you should negotiate it.
Okay. Just want a clarification. Any other comments, questions, discussion? Can I have a roll call on that, please?
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Chuck Barton,
Yes.
Pam Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Okay. Do I have any other old business? Okay.
Did you hit Silbert?
Pardon?
Mhm. Yes.
Silbert Holdings?
Didn't have to. I already had authorization to sign the contract.
Okay.
Okay, it's already been signed and gone off. Next item of business, receive potential resolution to rent the building to Our Electric so they can store their equipment in there and get it out of his barn. I went by the other day and his barn was open. I looked in there, it was stuff full of stuff. I can understand why he wants additional space. So you have a resolution. I also see, I know you got a copy of the lease on it. So first step is I need approval to sign the lease.
And
Dave's Mike.
Mike,
I was looking at the lease. I didn't see a term. Do we have a term for
Right.
this lease?
it's month to month.
Okay.
The agreement is if that we have someone come into the property, they will leave with 30 days notice, but we didn't want to be tied into having that done forever.
Okay. Thank you.
So Do I have any motion?
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Moved by Dan, second by Nick Caimano. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Weil,
Yes,
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Chuck Barton,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Carried. Kara, I need a point of order. Your legal expertise is requested.
Okay.
With the 90-day notice to all the parties that we need to notice, do I need a resolution to cover that, or I'm all set to send it?
No, you're all set because that's included in the resolution that you just approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So the next item is that our audit is coming up for submission to Paris. We're waiting for the documents to be completed with Colin Combs. We are waiting for one bit of information on bonds, which we're reaching out to get. Once that's done, he'll finalize the year-end audits. We'll then have to meet to approve the audit, so we may have to have a special meeting so we can submit our documents to Paris. Normally that they request the documents, the Paris reporting by March 31st, but I don't know if anyone ever got penalized for not submitting them on time, but if we don't have the documentation that Ally has struggled very hard to get, we can't submit it. So just a warning.
Well, I would just like to note that what I'm actually waiting for is the brand new bond that we just did. We closed on in August of 2021. That's for the CDC. The IDA Colin is working on right now, and at least that should be quicker.
One would hope. Okay. Anything else to come before the board?
ST62.
Oh, ST62s. Ally, would you explain that, please?
Yes, and in a previous email, I had sent the compilation of all of the tax exemptions that were active in 2021. Both the time frame and the amount that was allotted as a whole, and what they have claimed to have used for the life of their tax exemption status. They all vary, of course, by project, and none of them have gone over what's been allotted for 2021. So I have prepared an ST62 stating that no recapture was needed, and we're just looking for the board's approval to be able to send that out to New York State Taxation and Finance.
So moved.
Moved by Brian. Do I have a second? Second by Dan Bruno. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Second to last item is Tim came in and spent some time going over the end of the year financials. His first introduction to our financials, and I had some really great questions. Tim, did you want to say anything on that, or? Oh,
There we go. No, I don't have any comments at this point. Ally did just send me the draft CPA statement. So we'll get a look at that, and we'll review that and go from here. No, it was a good meeting, and it helps me understand, and maybe I can add a little value to put it in to a way the board can see comparisons and things like that. Sure, everybody understands, but it's nice to see a comparison. So yeah, no, I'm all good. Thank you, David. I appreciate that.
well, thank you for coming and reviewing them, and I think it's the first, I think some of your comments about presentation were good, and we'll take a look at that. You certainly look at way more financial statements than anyone in this room does.
Yeah, I can look at them.
One last item, and we will have an executive session out there. I've got some information to talk about that I've just received. I would like to thank Ally for the last 3 years. She was here 3 years. She's been with the IDA for 3 years and CDC for 3 years. And I wanted to thank you. I wish you would join me in thanking her for her efforts. And I know she's made a lot of things a lot easier. And she's always been willing to take on any challenge. So thank you, Ally.
Thanks, Ally.
Thanks, Ally.
Thank
See
you,
you.
Al.
Sally.
Thank you very much, Ally.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Caimano.
there was a not a letter to the editor so much as an op-ed piece written by 2 people regarding this new company that wants to come in to us. Is it your plan to answer that?
So that was sparked by Dane McSpadden about a month ago, had a guest essay, and they're just responding to them. Right now, I do not know what Hughes Energy's status is. I have not heard from them about the site since December, as I said several times, so we have no ongoing discussions. I will say the only contact I've had with them, I introduced him to some people in the state who we had a conversation with about their plans on the state overall. So having looked at this, I do know that should he begin to engage in Fort Edward again, we will be having discussions. I think it's more germane to wait until such point as we do have a solid candidate to come into the park before we start discussing them. I know there's going to be a lot of questions we have, a lot of questions that the town has, the town planning board, the DEC. And I think most people have to remember that a lot of the technical environmental issues are not of the IDA's seeking. We don't want to know the answers to them, but it's DEC to do the investigation, the work, and the approval. They're already ongoing with the site in Delaware. So they've been in charge, they've been in contact with DEC. I don't know what the status of the Green/Delaware County project is, but I do know that if they do have it, we need to have those discussions, but there's going to be many more discussions to have versus just trying to respond back and forth to someone that we're not having a discussion with. We need to involve the whole community, the whole area. And I will promise you and promise everyone that's listening is that if we have those conversations and they come back, we will have the conversations. We'll be as transparent as possible as we can be, as we've proven to be. But if they're not doing anything in sight, why are we expending the time, energy, and effort? They may never come here. They may come here, but that's the best answer I got, Nick.
Well, I mean, there were some legitimate questions that came up, but that probably required answers. But once again, I'll say to you that I ran into him. He called me, Bob Condon from the Post-Star, and he has once again offered to have you and the IDA and you or whomever write an op-ed piece periodically about what we think about what's going on. In that op-ed piece, again, there was some talk about taxes and they were wrong. And we keep getting those things happening. And I ask you to think positively about if the Post-Star is going to offer us a piece of the paper periodically, we should take advantage of it.
I would like to remind you, we started our conversation with John Brout from Behan Associates to get our messaging right. So part of it going to be involved in that. I don't mind talking to anyone, but I want to make sure that the messaging comes out as a messaging that
Good.
Is unified.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, Craig?
Oh, just before we go off on the other business here, on the balance sheet as of February 28th, is this the first time the canal site's shown up on it? I can't find my earlier ones.
That's the first time it showed up.
Makes a little difference on the bottom line there, doesn't it?
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
So. Anything else?
Nick's really right. If we get an opportunity, we should always put things out there, and everything does need to be accurate, but we really need to correct the things that aren't accurate that are printed also. And we should keep that in mind, be very cognizant of that. So if we get those opportunities, we should take them. I agree.
Yep. So, point taken, we're working towards it. Without any other comments, I'll entertain a motion to go in executive session. And we don't have a CDC meeting today, do we? So we won't be coming back in regular session.
And the reason for the executive session?
The reason for executive session is to discuss potential negotiation and reviewing contracts for potential expansion and direction. Alec or Kara, did I say that right?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. Thank you. And I would remind people that Travis Whitehead was good about the IDA operations and everything else again. He had a lot of good things to say. So we are now, it was in the paper.
I didn't see it.
Well, you should read it. It's about the regional planning board.
Oh, I did see that.
And then
Yes.
management. So
Yes.
anyhow, I need all in favor going to executive session.
Aye.
Aye.
Listen, please.